people hiding in your frame as well?
No.
Wish I did.
And on that note, I want to welcome everybody to the world according to that man right over there, Benjamin Jeremy Stein, America's humble servant. And we're joined tonight from the Media Action Network, Ken LaCourte News. Also, Ken LaCourte, welcome back as always, Ken.
Howdy,
Good to
howdy.
see you, Ken.
Good seeing you.
And sorry I missed you in California this
Nice
week
to see you, Ken. Always.
in
Again.
LA.
Wait. That's Ken. That's Ken. That's Ben. That's Ken.
We have Ken and Ben, and and of course
Ben.
And of course, from American Greatness, Ben Bemis Boychuk. You should get that reference, Ben Boychuk. It's the Twilight Zone episode with Burgess Meredith.
Yes.
And I'm a little shocked and disappointed that you have the statue behind you and you didn't get the reference.
Well, it's been a long day.
And of course, this show wouldn't be complete without actor, writer, provocateur, saint, sinner, father, grandfather, mathematician, statistician, mathematician, but most importantly, Dr. Benjamin Jeremy Stein.
Honor to be here, my friends.
Honor to see you, sir. Right off the bat, I want to welcome everybody that's in the chat. I want to remind everybody to please keep downloading the episodes as much as possible, wherever episodes can be downloaded. Also, please subscribe to Ben's email, benstein.substack.com. And on that note, welcome to the world according to Ben Stein. The first story of the night is the absolute inconsistencies of this administration. If Ben Boychuk, I want you to read the story because I think on every wrong turn, go read the story, please.
This is from Breitbart News. The White House scolded Governor Ron DeSantis on Thursday for refusing to enact mask mandates for children younger than 12 years old as they return to school. If I were a parent in Florida, that would be greatly concerning to me, said White House.
Who said that? Wait, who said that? I'm sorry, who said that?
White House Press Secretary Circleback Jen during the daily press briefing. DeSantis announced Thursday he will not set mask mandates for children in Florida school systems. We're not doing that in Florida, the governor said. We need our kids to breathe. Meanwhile,
that's very good. It's very good. I like that.
Meanwhile, the White House is rife with COVID.
I did not know that, but
yeah, it came, and that's the point I wanted to bring up, Ben Stein. So it came from the Texas Armada of people not wanting to vote, who obviously defied all the laws, as we spoke the other night of
sickness, of contagion, and of mathematics.
Right. So Jen Psaki, so they brought, not only did they bring COVID on the plane from Texas, there's no better gift, they brought it into the White House, and Jen Psaki is speaking with no mask, as Ben Boychuk stated, and telling Florida and their school children, and she said, if my kids do great with masks.
How does she know?
Well, that's a good point. She's the type of woman that her kids are probably not honest about it. But Ben, I really want you to get on this story because this is like Ben Stein.
Ben Stein.
What's the question? You said Ben. I didn't need to say the question.
I want Ben Stein. What are your thoughts on this issue of forcing children?
I think we have decided on this show that we would like to see some more data that masks work to prevent infection and to prevent the spread of the disease, especially if they work in such a way as to offset the clear, unequivocal negative effects of wearing masks. That is what I respectfully would like to see before it goes any further.
So Ken LaCourte, you got the vaccination that has the least. You're on the 66%. Right. So maybe everybody on the plane was the Johnson & Johnson recipients of that vaccine, and everybody at the White House was in the 66%. But, I don't have kids, so I have no horse in this race. I don't have any horses in any races anymore. But
wait a minute. Okay, go ahead. I'm just a little bit confused about whether or not horses are now supposed to be carrying this disease.
Soon enough. In the beginning, remember, there were animals. That's what biggest
I
fear.
know.
There's.
I remember that very well.
Right. That we had animals that were, you could get it through your dogs. But Ken LaCourt, children have been out of school for pretty much a year. They're stunted enough just by the fact that they're born in America today. Good on Ron DeSantis for fighting back. It's mind-boggling what they want to impose on our children, or the children.
Look,
The children.
Yeah, you always know you're in trouble when you start saying the children of America need. Look, the biggest disappointment about this whole silliness that they're getting at, and of course I've not seen any scientific evidence to back up the statement that children should be running around wearing masks. I haven't seen any serious doctors say that. But one of the biggest disappointing things of this whole pandemic, besides, a bunch of dead people and the destruction of the American economy, was the fact that we justifiably lost faith in our scientific leaders. And when you look at whether it's the Faucis of the world, whether it's a number of government agencies in the world, from first coming out and flip-flopping on masks themselves, when first it was, no, you shouldn't wear a mask. You wouldn't know how to wear it right. It's only for doctors and everybody. Don't wear it at all. Then it was masks are so important. Then it was this vaccination will stop you from getting it. And then our chief medical officer of the United States gets vaccinated, and then he's wearing 2 masks. And now they want kids. It's a never-ending football, and it has nothing to do with science at this point. It's all about politics, and it's disappointing to see that ugliness and stupidity get pushed, especially from the White House.
But it's very disappointing, and it's very discouraging as an attack on the Constitution. We're not the essence of America. Well, one of the many glorious essences of America is that we don't just order our citizens around by the whim of the government. There has to be a damn good reason to do it, and has to be sanctioned by the Constitution. I have yet to see, by the way, I'm sure it's there somewhere, I have yet to see where in the United States Constitution the government is given the authority to do this. It may well be there. I'm not saying it isn't. I just would like to see it. And then I would like to see how they link that up with whatever scientific data they've got.
So let's go to the only person on the panel that actually has a child in school at the moment, that being Ben Boychuk.
I have a grandchild.
Well, you have a grandchild, but Ben Boychuk, your daughter is in school. If they told you that first of all, we have no data on children, none, zero. I've never met anybody that said obviously everything, as Ben Stein would say, is anecdotal. But Ben Boychuk, would you send your kid to school wearing a mask at this point?
I wouldn't, but that doesn't mean that she wouldn't wear one. I was out with her this afternoon, and she had one on when we were walking around outside. I said, "Why are you wearing that outside? There's no need to wear this."
What was your answer?
Her answer was, well, she's 13, so I know some people are going to be listening to this, but I can only show you what her answer was, Ben Stein.
Well, could you show me, please? What does that mean?
She shrugged.
It means damn.
She's on drugs?
No, she shrugged.
Oh, she shrugged.
She's on drugs.
No, but somebody actually brought that up to me, Ben Boychuk, that teenagers, it's a big thing with them wearing the masks.
Oh, is that right? Oh, of course. My God, of course. Virtue signaling from a very early age, of course. Same reason that white teenagers dress up as blacks and pretend that they're in the class race struggle along with the African American citizens. Exact same thing. Brilliant. Ben Boychuk, single best point anyone's made on this show thus far.
Thank you.
See, there you are, Ben Boychuk.
Your daughter's going to be black next.
I'm the one, by the way.
Exactly right.
Ben
Judah
Boychuk,
made the point, but
I think I'm the one that brought up the point, not you.
Boychuk for the assist. How about that?
Yeah, okay. I dunked, you gave the assist. But there are a few state governors right now that the Republican Party has. They're obviously very strong state governors in DeSantis and Greg Abbott in Texas. Ben Stein, do you see other? Is this the Republicans' time to shine because our governors are so strong? Could this
problem is if this were 1960, if this were 1970, even 1972 or 3, yes. But because of the Iron Curtain that the mass media has drawn up around anything questioning the Democrat Party or the liberals, it's very hard for the Republicans to make any points at all. But something we have discussed on our show ad infinitum is there are 50 Republicans in the Senate. If all 50 of them stood up very firmly for saying we do not want to impose a mask mandate on our children or our adults or anyone unless there's very clear evidence that this virus is causing disease, unless you wear the mask. Without that, where is the government's role at all? Let's see the Republicans in Congress stand up and fight for it. It doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. It doesn't matter entirely that the Democrats control the media. If there are 50 Republicans in the Senate saying something, even the most wicked, dishonest media will have to take notice.
Is there a federal mask mandate?
I do not know, sir. I don't think there is. I don't believe there is, sir. I don't believe there is, sir.
I mean, there's CDC guidelines, but I don't.
Well, the reason I don't think there is, sir, is that I'm all over the country all the time, and I see various parts of the country where there is no mask mandate, and nobody's wearing masks.
Well, the mask mandate is so crazy in LA County that even the craziest psychotic mayor, Ben Boychuk, in all of America, de Blasio, is against it. That's how it's stunningly, shockingly bad, this idea of a new mask mandate when there's no scientific data.
Well, there's no scientific data about so very, very many things that the Democrats are pushing. I mean, there's no scientific data that making or encouraging women to have abortions is going to make their lives better. I mean, we know it's going to end some people's lives, but is it going to make the lives better of the mothers who have sacrificed their children on the altar of political correctness? That's a good question.
Yeah, so I don't want to harp on this thing. We've gotten into the masks a lot.
Well, may I respectfully, sir, Judah, my dear friend, I think it's worth harping on because it is the farthest reach so far of the Orwellian state into daily life in America. Because even if you're up in a small town, a small city like Spokane, Washington, where I was yesterday, even there at the airport, there's a very strict mask mandate. And once you leave there and get a little farther north, things are better. But I think that this mask mandate is a good long reach into daily life. And do we want to say thus far and no farther without a reason?
No, I mean, you raise a great point. It's just Ken LaCourte. There's nothing worse than when people stand up at the podium and say, well, my children, we don't know anything about your children. Your children are in some of the greatest private schools with Jen Psaki. We're talking about
Where do Jen Psaki's children go to school?
I don't know.
Can we have somebody, Ken? Can we have you look that up, please? You're the you have, I believe.
It'll have to be a homework assignment.
Yes, Ben Boychuk will look it up. But it's this, and it's this idea of just it really is, we want to say it's virtue signaling, but at this point, Ken, it's a religion.
Well, yeah, sure,
I was in a very high-end place 2 days ago with Ben Stein eating lunch, and I was a dutiful little kid because I didn't want to get yelled at by, they asked for no mask there, and I was waiting to see what someone would say to Ben Stein as he paraded proudly through the lobbies and the restaurant without a mask. All they said to him was, "Hi, Ben." So if you do it right, you don't get yelled at too much.
Yeah, but I go there a lot, and I'm a good customer, and they feel sorry for me because I'm so old and fat. So that has something to do with it. But if I may respectfully say so, this idea that we have to cover ourselves up or cover our face up, it's very psychologically fraught. It's a very deep intrusion into American life and into the American psyche. It's really, really serious stuff to tell people you don't have to show your face and you don't get to see other people's faces. That's really serious.
Like Sharia law.
Very much like that.
Well, that's why I said it is a religion.
And Judah, to go back to what you were saying, you said it's not a virtue signaling, it's more like a religion. a great deal of religion is virtue signaling.
Very well said. Ben Boychuk, final thoughts on this?
I have no idea where those where Circle Back Jen's children go to school. I did a quick Google search and came up with zip. Zero.
That's how private of a school it is.
Yeah.
Is that Ben Boychuk can't find what private school her children are in. And on that note, if you just tuned in, you are listening to The World According to That Man, Benjamin, Jeremy, Stein, everybody. Thank you in the chat. We will be getting to a lot of the things you guys are discussing. I want to remind everybody to please keep downloading our podcast. Also, go to American Greatness, speculator.org. And of course, the Media Action Network. I want to welcome everybody back to The World According to That Man, Benjamin, Jeremy, Stein. There's something that I think is a story that is extremely important. I didn't send you guys this topic, but it's the CRT group promoted by the Obama administration that they call themselves the Abolitionist Society. And they want
I have not heard about this, but
yes.
I'm guessing it's connected with the early founders of the Republican Party.
It's called the Abolitionist Teaching Network.
So they are connected with the Republican Party.
What?
No,
Ben Stein. This is not.
No, the abolitionists.
No, they want to abolish white people.
The Republican Party was founded to be the abolitionist party. That's why it exists.
Yes, but that's not this story. The story about this, Ben Boychuk, is that somehow, shockingly, and then later it was told it was done in error, that this was going to be part of the curriculum in next year's school system. And then they have deep ties to the Obama administration. One of them actually spoke for one of them for about 11 grand for a speech, and then the White House right away said it was done in error, that they were certified. Ben Boychuk, I'm sure you've seen the story.
So no, I've actually not seen the story, but I'm looking at the website right now, the Abolitionist Teaching Network website, and Ben Stein, I think your initial reaction was perfectly reasonable, because to read their mission statement, you would have no idea what in the hell these people do. Abolitionist Teaching Network's mission is to develop and support those in the struggle for educational freedom by utilizing the intellectual work and direct action of abolitionists in many forms. What does that mean? I'm for educational freedom, but I suspect that the educational freedom that they're talking about is not giving parents educational scholarship accounts for their kids to let them send their kids to any school they want. And I think the tip-off here is the use of the term direct action. That's something that it's a term that leftists are very fond of. But
I'd like to back up and say if Judah, Ben, Ken, and I, and everyone else who's working on this show, Ben Stein's handsome son, Tommy, can make a contribution to improving education, it would be a wonderful thing. And so let's do our little bit right now by saying there was no Republican Party prior to 1850. It was founded in order to promulgate and propagate and further the goals of abolitionism, which what meant to abolish human slavery in the United States of America. And it took off like a house of fire in the northeastern states and some of the upper Midwestern states. It was greeted with very, very, very extraordinary violence in other parts of the country. But let's get something straight, which we've discussed on this show, never gets told the truth about in the media. The Republican Party was the party that freed the slaves, not the Democrats, the Republican Party. And up until the mid-60s, it was the Republican Party that was protecting a black man from, and woman, presumably, from racism in its most brutal and primitive dimensions.
Okay, so very well said, and thank you for that history lesson. Ken LaCourte, let me tell you exactly what it says in their handbook. The group calls whiteness a form of oppression.
Yeah, wait, so when you say group, Judah, what is the group again?
The Abolitionists.
The Abolitionist Society.
I told you they wanted to abolish you. Keep going.
It advocates for educators to disrupt whiteness and accuses the U.S. education.
Okay, what is that? Okay, let's back up, Judah. Let's back up. You're a smart man. What does that mean, disrupt whiteness?
I haven't got the foggiest
I know.
idea.
What does that mean? Ben Boychuk, you're a smart guy.
But no, let me
You've got a
continue.
big
Let me
bald
continue
head of
though.
white hair.
Accuses
What
the
is
U.S. educational system of the spirit murder of black, brown,
murder. What is that?
of black, brown, and indigenous children.
Wait.
You're going to get yelled at on the subway.
Wait, what is a spirit burger?
Murder.
I've never heard of
Ben.
Murder, not a burger.
A spirit what?
Spirit murder.
They killed the black man's spirit.
Oh.
Kill.
That's very different.
We're spirit murderers. Ken LaCourte, this is like every day is like a new piece, is like the onion, but it's really true. Every day is the onion in America now.
Look, there are Dingledorfs out there, and it's just shocking that Dingledorfs these days can rise to the level where people like the White House and serious people pay attention to them. I don't know.
Wait a minute. As we lawyers say,
right?
My wife, I hope, is watching this. I pray that she is. She's the most important person on the face of the earth for me, by far, by a million miles. I hope she's watching this, along with her nurse and friend Gemma, whom we also love. Although I would like to tell you that Gemma refuses to eat the meals I prepare for her. But anyway, I would like to respectfully tell you that no one can meaningfully point to the Republicans as the murderers of the black spirit. That is a Democrat thing through and through. It's been changing. You bet it's been changing. But what does it mean right now? What does it mean except to tell black people, we don't expect you to behave within the law. We don't expect you to get an education. We don't expect you to do anything concrete. And we're going to look after you and pay you anyway, just because we're nice guys and we need your vote.
Very well said, Ben Boychuk. You run a paper every day that has actual stories in it, that I see them, and I never look at one of your stories and think it's a joke. And same thing with The Spectator, of course, and Media Action Network. But when I read these stories, Ben Boychuk, you would think it was made up.
Well, it isn't made up. I covered education for a long time, and I'm fascinated. I'm looking at their guide for racial justice and abolitionist social and emotional learning.
God. Oh God.
But it's word salad stuff.
Can you get me my anti-heart attack?
But I know what I'm going to be writing about for next week, because it's so here's they discuss what's something called social and emotional learning, which I don't know what that means.
What does that mean?
I have no idea what that means, but they say
that's the whole point.
1 + 2 equals, I'm sorry.
That's how they get Ben Boychuk. That's how what Ben Stein is saying to Ben Boychuk, and Ben Boychuk, I want you to respond, is that's what they use words that none of us could even grasp. You can't have a critical, they're ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous, Ben Boychuk.
But they do make a statement here that I think is at once shocking and very funny. Most social and emotional learning standards are rooted in Eurocentric norms, not to empower, love, affirm, or free Black, Brown, or Indigenous children. I could write a book on that. Yeah,
that's absolute nonsense.
Okay. So we all realize this is nonsense. I have a question for you.
Okay.
How did this ridiculous notions escape the sociology departments in colleges?
Because they're part of it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it started there. You've had those people in the crazy corners, when you got wrong at the wrong part of campus, and all of a sudden you saw these posters you didn't understand. How did that virus escape our colleges and infect our politics enough that a group as silly as that could be brought up in the White House?
That's actually a very good question.
Because we have a bunch of dopes on the faculties and the other parts of the faculties, and because the students are told, if you want to play ball, have sex, get high, and get us to give you good reports.
But that's been going on since the 60s. Why did it get popular, and how did it escape college?
I'm sorry.
Look, what you said is 100% accurate, but that's what's been going on in college campuses ever since you were a kid. Or how did that escape the college campuses and infect our political system?
I think because those people who graduated from those universities, and I had many of them as students, and many of them were wonderful, wonderful young people, and I still stay in touch with them. I'm very fond of them. they got out and they got jobs in press departments, printing departments, at publishers, and publicity departments, and networks and magazines, and they got out and about, and they gave each other jobs. Once you have a certain number of them within the entity, they co-opt. Then the process of co-optation comes in, and that's what's happened. So that in 10 years, the process of co-optation will be 100% complete. I'll be dead. I will be under the ground somewhere, eating dirt or worms or something. If I'm
I'll
lucky.
make sure there's extra butter in your.
Yeah, exactly. And but my son, a brilliant young man and a man of great moral courage, I hope will be fighting back against this obvious nonsense.
But Ben Boychuk,
Well,
you look like
what?
you look like you're about to speak.
No, I'm actually.
You're still reading that shit, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, I'm going through it. I'm just kind of flabbergasted by all this.
So,
I think I figured it out.
That's great. Silence while reading on audio.
No, I think I figured it out. So they're in favor of abolishing. They're in favor of abolishing prisons, school systems as we know them, and whatever whiteness means.
Okay, let's us. Here we are, four people. I myself am a Jew. I don't think I consider myself white. I'm a Jew. We're not white.
You're extra.
Jude is a Jew. He's not white. Ben Boychuk's a Polak, right? So you're white. You are white. Ken LaCourt, you are white, I think. I will tell you, looking at you two white guys, you repel me. You make me sick with your repulsive whiteness. You look at the way you treat me, for God's sake. Small wonder that we're angry.
Brilliantly put.
Wojciech, make those two guys. Let's use our white privilege. Silence those two guys.
I just love how Ben Boychuk. That's what I love. How studious he is. That he's so fascinated by this. He's like, screw the show. I'm just going to read this. But Ben Stein, what Ken LaCourt was talking about, I think is a very interesting question. He's basically saying this has been going on for years. Why now? Why has it stuck more now?
I will give you the answer because I am old. And I will tell you that there was a time, I cannot tell you the exact date, but roughly 1954, 53, 54, 55, when there was something called a TV show, of course on TV, called Daniel Boone. And it was all about Daniel Boone, and he wore a coonskin cap. And all of a sudden, every kid had to have a coonskin cap. And all over every neighborhood, everybody had to have a coonskin cap. That was the fad, and this is the fad now. And so this is our fad now for the moment, is political correctness and smashing whiteness and so forth. And someday soon it will be another fad.
I have a theory.
Go ahead, sir.
Do people want to hear my theory?
Go ahead, Reverend.
And it comes from the dating apps.
Oh,
it all has to do with the women. It all has to do.
I'm not on dating apps. So
it all has to do. What? Sorry.
I have not been on a dating app.
It all has to do with the emasculating of men for the better part of 35 years in our country. We have a bunch. If you look at all of these things, they're all run. The squad, all women.
What is the squad? A squad is like you mince it up, you put in some kind of sauce, and you put it in a taco.
I just believe as a country we've lost. I believe as a country we've lost our balls. Not at all. Really?
I'd swipe left on that.
Yeah.
Why does swipe left? Ken, what does that mean?
I reject the dating app. Well, anyhow.
No, listen. I'm on these dating apps. You see a bunch of women, women that are. And Ben Boychuk was actually agreeing with me on this gratefully. But yeah, Ben Boychuk.
No. Finish your point. But I just have. I'm going to follow up on that though.
Follow up.
Well, no, I just to amplify what you're saying, it's the triumph of the affluent white liberal female. Oh God, I screwed it up. The awful people, the affluent white female liberal, awful.
Where's the you?
Or is it the triumph of the will?
I don't know, but I think that's what it is. I think the sort of terminology that was commonplace in colleges and universities 30 years ago has made its way into K through 12 education because through teachers, and it's just become commonplace in the curriculum.
May I posit a theory?
Yeah, please.
Please, Counselor.
Even though I think my theory is correct.
I believe that for the past...
Well, that's the whole meaning of a democracy. Go ahead.
I believe that for the past 30, 40 years, certainly as long as I've been around, this nonsense has been taught on most college campuses. And then what would happen? The average kid would leave college. He'd leave his UC Santa Cruz and think, wow, the underclass needs to uprise or blah, blah, blah. And then to get in most positions of power, he or she had to go into a company as a peon, and they adapted to that company's thoughts and beliefs. How many young people have you hired? Their brains are mush. They think silly things, and you'd explain to them basic things like capitalism and how to behave in a workplace and not to say the F word and what you can do. But in the last 10 years, our media has shifted from the old media, the legacy media that we talk about, to so much has been driven by the new Silicon Valley media. And at Facebook, at Twitter, at Instagram, at all those and all the places that you're trying to find women out there, and the average age in those companies who are running them now is in the low 20s, and that the nonsense.
What? Wait a minute.
How old do you think the average person is at Facebook?
How can that possibly be?
You have socks.
Where are the older ones? Where
are
the older ones? What happened to them?
Because it was Silicon Valley. Facebook blew up to have 30, 40,000 employees. There aren't any normal old people who've been through life. Your average socks are older than the average executive at Facebook. I'd put dollars to
not Ben Stein, because he's very current on his socks and boxers. So
my average socks are older
anybody
than
else
at Facebook.
Anybody else I would agree with, and people agree with
Wojciech doesn't wear socks, so I don't know how to go.
And I'm just very happy that people in the chat agree with me. They don't think I'm being but and he raises, getting back to it, Ken raises a great point, Ben, and it goes to the thing. There used to be the theory, liberal at 21 wasn't going to be conservative at 31. And what he's basically saying is they're getting into these massive positions before they even have a chance to learn about life.
It's good.
Absolutely true. 100% true. But then let me ask you this question, sir. What happened to the ones whose places they took? Where'd they go? I mean, if you're going to say these young executives are in their early 20s, where are the guys and girls from 25 to 30, 30 to 31 to 40? Where are those people? I mean, I know some extremely intelligent young people, way younger than, way older than mid-20s. Where'd they go?
Well, they never were at the Facebooks and the Twitters, and those are very, very young companies. But I tell you, I've talked to a few formerly high executive-ishy, like managing editor and above at places like the New York Times, and they've just gotten hijacked. I mean, they're liberal, but they're like looking at some of this new stuff coming in that's nutty, and they're just like the young people took over. It was like the inmates took over the asylum at some of the older, at some of the more established companies like the Times, again, who was always liberal and is now crazy.
I think that's an absolutely brilliant point, and I love it. I am very, very well impressed with it. I'm very well impressed with it, but it's terrifying. And I find myself, as we are speaking right now, at our home in North Idaho. My wife's in hiding, and so she can't come out and greet anyone. But I'm here, and with my very, very capable assistant, Jeff. And we have several other very capable assistants here taking care of us all. And I think you're right. And I can only say that it's extremely imperative that this grip be broken. Will it be broken? I don't know. We're starting a little bit on it tonight.
And Ben Wojciech, you've worked in newspapers and books for quite a few years, and you got to work your way up. And these companies, they're grabbing them right away, right? They're grabbing these kids based on college boards. They're grabbing these kids based on all.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Sahib. I thought that the college boards had been thrown out as inherently racist.
Some places, yes.
Sorry, Ben Boychuk?
Some places, yes. Like
Some
the
places,
university.
and Ben, I'm referring to their recruiting in college. To them, seeing a 21-year-old person graduating from college is much better than seeing a 50-year-old that's been working and has a.
But if the college board is one metric, then that metric's got to be thrown out. It is inherently racist.
I agree with you 100%, Ben Boychuk. Go for it.
I think grades are racist too, and I think
so too.
I think standards.
And whose sides are you on? Come on. We're the white power in this group.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm getting woke.
Jew boys. Jude and I are the
No,
Jew
but that's
boys.
the truth, right? Ben Boychuk, you raise a brilliant point. Everything's racist.
Everything's racist.
Everything is wrong.
I've been saying that forever.
Let's get rid of everything, Ben Boychuk.
Mocked me and belittled me. And I've been saying it forever. And you mocked me and belittled me and called me a Jew liar over and over again. I didn't hear you.
Lord.
I didn't hear you. But I know you were saying it.
That must have been Judah.
It was.
No. I think that was, well, I don't know who it was, but somebody.
Okay, Ben Boychuk.
I think it was my son.
Are you still lost in thought
Stein.
over what you read, Ben?
No, I'm just stunned at the borderline defamation that just happened. No, it's easier to take the path of least resistance on this thing. Just concede that everything is racist and watch the thing burn to the ground.
The reason I brought up the dating thing, because I was thinking about this today. I was thinking about, it would be so much easier for me to put on my app, I'm a liberal. I like the Pixies.
Who are the Pixies?
They're a band. I love PETA. And
I was one of the founders of PETA. My wife and I were one of the founders of PETA.
And I'll do whatever it is. And I'll do whatever it is you want, Ben Boychuk. It seems just so much easier than saying what I belong to. And I think so many people have capitulated to that idea and thought that it's just so much easier to go with the demented flow than actually stand for something. I
would like to ask you a question, since you and I are always going back and forth about data versus anecdote. What percent of American men or women are on dating apps as of now?
12.3%.
What?
12.3%.
What? No, you just made that up.
No. Well, I mean, it's nobody over 60. It's nobody under 15.
Ken, you can't just make it up.
Oh,
Sorry.
Was that a?
No, my God, it's higher.
Okay.
It's higher.
No,
what is the percentage?
Divide it by 2, because whoever writes that thing, Ben, is
Ben, go ahead, tell us the answer.
So the top line is 40% of Americans have used an online dating app at some point.
Well, okay.
27% of young adults report using online dating sites, which is up 10% from 2013. And
I mean, what was the percent, please?
27% of young people.
27% of young adults.
And up
what does
10%.
that mean, young adult? What does that mean?
It means 12.3% of Americans.
Yeah, it means 18. Let's see. Pew Research has a slightly different figure on this. They say 3 in 10 U.S. adults say they have ever used a dating app. 48% of 18 to 29-year-olds say they've used a dating app or site. And for those 50 and older, 16%. So that's
those are all
for those 75 and older.
And now the next best question to that would be how many of those people on those dating apps, what party do they belong to? What female persuasion? And I would say, and obviously Ben Stein, this is anecdotal data, about 85 to 90% of them are liberal.
All right, can we just?
We don't know. We don't know. All we know is an awful lot of idiocy is taking place in America's mass media. I see it all the time. I found it in a box the other day in my closet of submissions that I had made and text back and forth between yours truly and the editors of some very big magazines like Harper's, the Atlantic, and so forth, with me submitting articles about what it was like working at the Nixon White House. And the replies I got back from the editors were very intelligent, very thoughtful, very well reasoned. Sometimes they would buy them, sometimes they wouldn't. But the world now, in terms of editors of magazines, is totally 100% different. That was 50 years ago, approximately. It's been a revolution in idiocy, and you can take that phrase and take it all the way to the bank.
Love it. Ken, you wanted to say something?
I think we should all give Judah dating advice here because he's floundering in this world. So let me start.
No, the dating advice is to lie.
No, the dating advice is to have huevos, balls.
Of course.
Look,
Ken, I write down on my dating app.
You swim in a sea of soy boys, and if you're the one man on that who's just like, this is what I want, here's what I bring to the table, I'll open your door.
What is a soy boy? Wait, what is a soy boy?
One who eats too much soy and becomes effeminate, like all the kids that you see walking around too much.
I just have to ask you, with all due respect, do you have any data that show that consumption of soy products is linked to a smaller amount of testosterone in the bloodstream?
You know, in 63.8% of the time.
Okay, thank you.
And it's an expression, and he's referring to. But Ken, I actually do stand up for myself. If anybody has seen my my profile, I
want to see it right now.
No.
Wait, are you on Jewish sites?
No.
On Jewish sites, no.
No, because
Jewish girls they like the concept of really soft, nice guys, right? You know.
I don't know.
Judah, did you know? Because I was just Googling around. I wanted to see if anybody had done any research for Ben's.
Sorry for boring you, Ben.
No, I did. I wanted to see if anyone had done any research correlating political affiliation to eating. That's eating. Well, their presence on dating sites. And what I discovered is that turns out there's a lot of right-leaning, or there's at least 3 right-leaning dating sites.
What are they called? What are they called?
One's called Writer. That's RIGHTER.
I get it.
One is called Conservatives Only, and this one is so obvious. I wish I had started it because I would be making millions of dollars right now. Donald Daters.
Oh God, that's a little much for me.
I don't get that.
And just for the record, just because
like dating girls for supporting. Yeah, okay.
Just because these apps and sites are up, it doesn't mean that there are actually people on them. We all know the biggest sites are Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. Those are the big dogs in this. Those sites, I would venture to say, are not very huge. But anyways, I digress. My whole point,
Judah, if you haven't converted a liberal girl into obeying your conservatism, you haven't lived. I'm just saying.
And on that note, if you just
sometimes they're a little uptight. You don't want them to go to church every Sunday, right?
And on that note, if you just tuned in, you are listening to The World According to Ben Stein. We have totally digressed tonight.
No. I think this free-flowing stream of consciousness, that what really comes up, bubbling out of our brains, is worth something.
Okay, so I'll get back. So I'll get back to it, and not. So I do, and somebody brought this up. They agreed with me on chat. There's so many in the. I do believe. Getting back to what I said, obviously I have no statistical data on this. Is where I do believe that women have had a major impact on the shift in our country towards, with feminism, as somebody brought up in chat, progressivism, and all of these different things. And it really, truly has manifested into a lot of these social issues that are happening today. If you look at the Ben and Jerry's thing, it's
why don't we talk about? Can we talk about that again?
Yes. So for people that are unaware, we brought this up the other night. Ben and Jerry's. So here's basically the best I could ascertain from this story is, so when Ben and Jerry's sold to Unilever in 2000, they did so on the condition that they could have an advisory board, and that advisory board from this company basically runs the Ben and Jerry's part, in a sense. They have a big say. So one of the people that are on this advisory board has sent out extreme anti-Semitic, extreme anti-Israel tweets constantly. And they have, as a company, called the territories occupied territories. There is 35 states in America have a anti-BDS law.
What?
Yes, 35 states.
Well, wait a minute. Anti-BDS is okay.
No. I mean
that
if you as a company agree with and boycott and divest and sanction from Israel, that state can make laws against you. So Florida.
I don't believe it. I'm sorry,
yes,
Jude.
yes.
I love
Ben
you like
Boychuk, can you please?
Or like a child, but I don't believe it.
Okay.
It also sounds very un-American.
Ben Stein and Ken and everybody, a top Texas official said Thursday he is considering banning Ben & Jerry's statewide after the Vermont-based company announced it will no longer sell ice cream in, quote, occupied Palestinian territory. Texas State Comptroller Glenn Hagar.
Yeah, that word is pronounced controller. Okay.
I like saying comptroller better.
It's like it's
got anyway.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, Glenn Hagar said that he has directed his staff to review whether Ben & Jerry's or its parent company Unilever have violated the state's boycott Israel laws. Texas law under Chapter 808 bars companies from refusing, terminating business, or taking, quote, any action that is intended to penalize, inflict economic harm on, or limit commercial relations with Israel.
Just Israel, not Russia.
Wait a second. Wait a second. That's exactly the opposite of what Judah was saying. Judah was saying that the states are in favor of penalizing Israel, and you just
No, I didn't.
No, he didn't.
No, I didn't.
With respect, Ben. No, what he said was 35 states have passed laws similar to the Texas statute that I just.
Sir, with great respect, Ben. The statute that you just read to us, with great respect, says you can't discriminate against Israel.
That's what I said. That's exactly.
So if we have 35 states that say you can't discriminate,
you can't discriminate against Israel, and Florida,
that's a good thing.
And Florida right now in Texas.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, of course it is, Ken. You know what?
Just Israel, right? I can discriminate against Afghanistan if I want to, right?
No, but Ken.
Yes, of course it can be done state by state, and don't try to be.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I don't think the government should be getting involved in whether a corporation likes or doesn't like another country.
I agree. That's fine.
But conservatism is about state by state, and you could believe.
Wait.
Conservatism is a lot of things, including
free food. How come he is allowed to eat and I'm not allowed to eat?
I don't know. He just decided to pop some food in his mouth. We have an anti-eating law on this show, Ken LaCourte.
Oh, I didn't know that. Could I drink?
Ben Stein, so I hope that answered your question about what was going on with Ben & Jerry's.
Are you throwing up now, Ken?
No.
but Ben Stein, I hope that helped you with that response.
I would like to respectfully say this country treats Israel unbelievably well, incredibly well, mind-bogglingly well. I don't think the Israelis have much to complain about the way the United States treats them. If there are a group of insurgent nutcases in Congress who are becoming anti-Israel, that will be dealt with in time by the consent of the governed. But in general, Israel is treated extremely, extremely well by the United States. And we, as Jews and fans of Israel, are prostrate with gratitude.
I don't understand what you're saying. What did have to do?
It was pretty clear.
I really don't.
You agree? It's perfectly clear, is it not, Ken?
No, I don't understand that. So we're not allowed to have states have laws.
No, we are allowed to. We are allowed to do it. But I'm saying Israel is basically Israel is treated incredibly well by the United States.
I have to humbly disagree with you. During certain administrations, I don't believe it's treated.
Well, that's certainly.
That's the trillions in money that any country's given Israel. And
we haven't given them trillions.
Not even and Botswana would be here, and the rest of the world.
It's not even remotely trillions. But there's no doubt about it, Ken LaCourte.
Probably over there.
Ken LaCourte, with all due respect, Israel has been incredibly well treated by the United States of America. There is no doubt about that. And people who say that Israel is being mistreated by the United States, at least for the last several decades, I believe, quite seriously mistaken.
I have
America
to
is
humbly
very,
disagree with you and say the Obama administration did not treat Israel terribly well. I would say that this administration, we shall see, obviously, but that's just my humble opinion. I don't.
But Israel, in terms of criticism of Israel by the Obama administration and its henchmen, no doubt, you're totally correct. But in terms of actual aid given to Israel,
Okay, I don't care about aid anymore.
Probably in relation to
Ken, I'm going to tell you this right now. You want to know something, Ken? As a Jew, this is dangerous, this BDS movement. Okay, as a Jew, I could give two shits about how much money Israel gives America gives Israel anymore. Israel could sustain itself now with their allegiances in that region. They don't need. But you know what? This BDS movement, this rise in anti-Semitism, is disgusting, and it's coming. Yeah,
totally agree. Totally agree. But Israel is incredibly good at handling it.
Good at handling what? They're losing the PR.
The rise in anti-Semitism. They're very, very good at handling it.
They're. Some would disagree that they're losing Ben Boychuk, the PR.
I hope you're wrong. You may be right. I hope you're wrong.
I share your worries about the rise of see this. Actually,
let's take a special case. Universities. Universities are a nightmare. Very, very, very bad. And universities are cauldrons of anti-Semitism and pro-Nazi thinking. There's no doubt. From what little I see, there's no doubt about that. But for America as a whole, as a nation, America has been unbelievably good to Eretz Israel.
What's the second best pro-Israeli country on the face of the earth?
What's the second?
Even during the Obama administration, who was the second best country?
Okay, so but again, again, forget about finances. We're talking about the messaging that comes from these. We're talking about messaging, Ken. I'm not talking about finances. You're right. Obama administration gave Israel with the Iron Dome. I mean, listen, it's a mutual relationship.
It's very important.
And America has no problem using the creations that happen. I'm not referring to finances. I'm referring to this dangerous thing of it being okay with this notion, with this idea of BDS or
I'm sorry, BDS. I'm sorry, I'm a little confused on that exact term. What does that mean?
It's boycott, divest, and sanction.
Okay.
And basically we're going through and we're seeing it, like Ben brought up, in the university systems. This has nothing to do with finances. This has to do, and Ben Boychuk, with this slippery. Yeah, Ben Boychuk.
Yeah, no, yes. So, and I want to amplify what Ben Stein said a moment ago. See, what the problem, just as all of the woke nonsense that we're contending with in this country emerged, the seeds for which were planted 30 or 40 years ago and are coming to poisonous floweration now, is the same thing with anti-Semitism. And I'll give you a great example of it from a piece that I wrote for the Press Enterprise in Riverside in 2014. The Rialto Unified School District in inland Southern California had assigned to their eighth graders, about 2,000 eighth graders, were given a quote unquote critical thinking assignment in which they were asked to argue whether the Nazis actually murdered 6 million Jews during World War II, or if it was rather, quote, a propaganda tool that was used for political and monetary gain. They assigned a Holocaust denial essay assignment in a public school system, and they got caught. And there was a lot of self-abasement, and there was a great many apologies. But how in the hell did that get in there in the first place?
That's a very good question. I don't remember exactly where you live, Ben Boychuk, but the Inland Empire is an unfortunate area. There's a lot of unusual personalities. I drive through it.
Are you dissing the 909?
It sounds like it. Yes,
great deal, and I see some pretty strange people. But then again, I see some very nice people.
Good
point. Look, I'll argue that this all comes from the fruit of the same tree. I'll argue that it's not as much anti-Semitism as much as it is the anti-bullying movement, which has turned into, look, when all of these guys went to school and college and high school, we were told in the Nancy Reagan years, don't do drugs, don't do drugs. We go to every time we go to an assembly, it was so that we wouldn't smoke pot and become heroin users. In the last 15 years, that don't do drugs in the high schools and in the junior highs has been replaced by anti-bullying. Bullies are bad, and it created, and that helped create what we're talking about. It helped created the foundation of people who say, the opposite of bullying is a victim. So anytime I can be a victim, I'm great, which is what you see when you see all these videos of a girl go up and slaps a cop and then he arrests her and she's the victim, right? I mean, we've seen this hundreds of times in here. And I suspect that the Palestinian Jewish Israel thing, a lot of it comes down to the fruits of that same don't be a bully tree. You've never seen a Palestinian cops. I've been in Gaza. I don't know if they had cops. And they've won in much of in the public consciousness among especially lefty liberals on campus, and all the protests that you see, certainly up in San Francisco, there's always an element of this, is the guys, i.e. Israel, with the power, with the police, with the guns, with the weapons, with all of that, are the bullies, and we're the anti-bullies. I just can't get away from the notion that this is all going down to the same roots of, we don't want to be, bullies are bad. Israel has planes. Gaza doesn't have a plane. Probably true, actually. Gaza probably doesn't have a plane. And that it comes to the same concept of the people with the power must be the bullies, and therefore I'm on the opposite side.
I think there's a lot more than that, but that's a legitimate observation about an attitude which is very widespread on college campuses, but that doesn't keep it from being very stupid too.
And no. Very and extremely scary.
Yeah.
And an extreme amount of scariness. And it has to be brought up, and it has to be fought against, because people, Ben Stein, like to say it's not anti-Semitism, it's anti-Zionism. And that is always the trope for, no, it's basically like saying, how does every racist, how does every racist joke start? Some of my best
look
friends.
Around.
Look around. I was about to do that.
No, Judah, once again, you've blown that one. It's every racist joke story.
Yes, I was trying to do it for the audio, so people, because when you're listening on the audio, you can't see me turning my neck. But it's when you say some of my best friends are, and then you could always guarantee afterwards. But I still think Israel's a mass murdering state. But some of my best friends are Jews. That's, so I digress a little bit, but I like saying that. That's my word tonight, Ben, is digress. And if you just tuned in, you are listening to The World According to Ben Stein. And there was a really quick topic that I really wanted to get to. And it was Netflix and a blip they lost. But I want to ask you guys, and I spoke to all you guys, what was a company? Because everybody looks at Netflix and essentially says it's too big, it'll never fail, a company like Netflix. What companies did some of you guys think 25 years ago? Because to put it in perspective, never would have failed. Would still be around.
Chrysler as one of the giant big three auto companies, I never thought would disappear. I'm trying to think of others, but let me think. Well, DuMont, this is way, way, way before your time, but one of the early television networks was DuMont. That's completely gone. I'm not sure. I'm sure
I've got one.
We gave you some time with this. Can Ben Boychuk, please?
I've got one, and I think you guys, I know you'll appreciate this, Ben. The first airplane trip I ever took with my father was on PSA.
Oh, I didn't even, it's so amazing. I don't even think of it as being gone. It was so
What is
powerful.
PSA?
PSA was the local main within California airline. It was quite a good, inexpensive airline.
Yeah.
I was going to say Eastern Airline, or I was going to say
that was a giant airline.
And I was going to say Blockbuster, by the way. Like if somebody would have told, I was telling Ken, if somebody would have told you 25 years ago that Blockbusters would cease to exist, music stores would cease to exist. And my point being is that Netflix has become so woke, and I'm not sure if that's the reason for the dip, but Ken, you never know. I mean, who you were at Fox News.
One thing that we know is that companies get destroyed, especially in this quick media landscape. From my point of view, it was IBM was the first. It was Xerox. Xerox owned the technical world, but they were too stupid to get into computers, and IBM came and ate their lunch. Apple
they were in it, but they didn't know what they had. They
Apple,
were way ahead of everyone.
especially. I mean, the best story ever is the Apple guy, Steve Jobs and Wozniak going to Xerox's Park Labs where these guys were like, hey, we did this cool thing. We can make computers with Windows. And all the Xerox executives like, well, who wants that? Make a faster copier. And they literally stole it from them. Probably AT&T has throughout history been a huge monopoly that has been knocked down a few times. But in my life,
is AT&T no longer in business? I'm still getting
it's in business, but it's not taking over the world like they were 30 years ago. Same with Microsoft. I mean, when I was in college, Microsoft was the Google. It was they're everywhere. Yeah. Bill Gates. I remember articles about Bill Gates is buying the copyrights to every painting in the world in his house, and he's going to own the Mona Lisa and this and that. And Microsoft was up here, and they just kept falling over their dicks, and turned out to be still a huge billion-dollar company, but nothing like Microsoft was the Google of its.
What about Yahoo? Or AOL?
Yahoo, 100%.
I mean, you're talking about companies that, but and I just want to Ben Stein, because there's a great documentary out called The Last Blockbuster. And this should be it's about a blockbuster in Bend, Oregon. Mm-hmm. And it's the last blockbuster. Mm-hmm. And everybody has this notion about why Blockbuster failed. Everybody thinks Netflix beat them. And that wasn't the case. Netflix was about to launch a streaming service of their own. And oddly enough, they could have, that Xerox story, Blockbuster could have bought Netflix for $50 million and they kicked them out of the office. But it was 2008 and the credit crunch happened, and Blockbuster couldn't get financing. They couldn't get the credit they need, and out of business they went. Remember how
who wanted to go twice to another building to rent a movie?
Well, it's
you had to go there to buy it. Your wife wasn't there. This was in a day before cell phones. You had to kind of guess. 30% chance you were going to get yelled at when you came home with the wrong rom-com. I mean, it was a bad business model once streaming existed.
Right, but my point is they were ready to launch their streaming network. They couldn't get the credit, and they couldn't get the financing. But the reason I wanted to bring this up too is because right now it's the way the world is looking. We don't know. It will change, and God willing, it will change for the better. The moment is very scary in a lot of different areas, Ben Stein, but in 30 years. It could be the experiment could be saved is sort of the point.
Well, I won't be alive, so it won't.
Yes, well,
yeah, why not?
There is nothing to say that you won't live forever. Prove that wrong.
Can I sing now?
Yeah, just give me 1 second. And somebody else misses Borders too. Ben Stein, that was one of his favorite stores, was Borders.
No, wait, Borders. There's one in Rancho Mirage. Was it called Borders? Or I forget what it's called, but that was a great bookstore. Excuse me, that was by far the best bookstore I've ever been to. Have you been to Ben Boychik?
I could have put a down payment on a house with the amount of money.
I love that store. I really miss it to this day. I miss it to this day.
And on that note, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We will see you Saturday night. We have Remzo and Gary Collins joining us. I want to remind everybody you could get Ben Boychik, AM Greatness. He is the managing editor of amgreatness.com. Also, please donate a few shekel if you have them. It's a great publication on par with spectator.org, where you can find Ben Stein's daily diaries, but also subscribe to KenMediaActionNetwork.com. My mother, it's one of her favorite newsletter sites. Ken LaCourte, yes.
I didn't know there was a no eating thing. I apologize for.
It's very controversial. Don't worry about it.
But nobody told me, and
don't worry
I had the prosciutto.
Don't worry about it.
It was sitting there looking at me.
It's not. It's very controversial.
I want to remind everybody, please keep downloading the episodes. I want to thank you, everybody that's been listening tonight, and I want to thank everybody that's going to be listening in the future. Even if you listen here, please keep downloading those episodes. It's really doing well on the Apple charts. So please get us higher. And on that note, Ben Stein, please take us out.
Every time I look at you, I don't understand why you let the things you did get so out of hand.
Come on, Ben.
You'd have managed better if you'd had it, man. Israel and for BC, what an old traditional land. But anyway, that's the beginning of Jesus Christ Superstar. Everybody have a good evening. God bless you all. And God bless America. I think we should end every show by saying, God bless America.
God bless America.
God bless.